Let us unpack the word for one in isiZulu, kunye. Okay? It simply means it is one. Okay? It is one. Kunje. It is like this. Ku is like always, it can mean it is in most cases. Okay? So it is kunye. It is one. Okay? Syllable nya is from the nyanye nyinyo new 5 vowels driven isiZulu syllable set. Doke, Malcolm's, Kakana, and Vilakazi. In this dictionary, guys, I use it a lot to find the definitions of words so that I enhance it. It's very, very useful. It's well researched, this one. Okay, so I also have my own dictionary. The beauty about my own dictionary is that it has proper coded noun classes, and it is also extremely quantity sensitive, obviously because I developed this system. So that is why it is very coded, because with me a system must be practical, and that's where I come from as a systems developer. If you are a systems developer, you want something that is practical. You don't want something that is just going to be good to study, but it doesn't make any sense. It has no purpose. It must be fit for purpose. Okay? It must meet your expectations. And your expectations is to be able to communicate fluently in isiZulu. I've come across a lot of friends who are white, who are Indians, who are colored, and so forth, who've been trying to learn isiZulu language. And because we are not teaching isiZulu systematically, these people end up studying this language, but they are never able to communicate in it. So I want you to communicate in isiZulu with understanding. Basically, guys, Malcolm, Doke, Skakana, and Vilakazi define nya as the idiophone in reference to nothingness, disappearance, ending, silence, as in ufile nya. It's completely dead. It's no more. It's no more. Therefore, nya also means zero. Yes. Nya means zero. In other words, there is no more life in this thing. This thing is gone. Okay? Nya. Kuphelile nya ukudla. There's nothing left in the plate, right? It's finished. My food is finished in the plate. There's nothing left. Okay? So, there is something very beautiful about this. And that's why we are encouraging this 5 vowels driven approach. In other words, from nya emerges kunye. Okay, kunye, which is one. Okay, kunye. Okay, kunye. It is one, which is the second syllable in the set in the set of nyanyenyinyonyu. Okay? And guys, it's very important to understand that isiZulu converts syllables, especially the first syllable, into different noun class sets. Okay? For example, I'm just going to make an example here. You can see that in set 4, okay, let's take set 3, for example. Set 3, inya. Inya is emptiness. It is emptiness. It is desire to exert oneself to make up for lost time, for time lost. Okay? So that is inya. Okay? It's emptiness, basically. It's also that desire to want it to correct to correct it that wrong. It's the rectification, inya. Okay? So then unya is cruelty. That is the noun class, that is the noun that we create from nya, unya. In other words, it comes from nothingness. The point I'm making here is that isiZulu is very philosophical. Bantu languages, if you analyze them carefully, you will actually find that there is history in them, in their words, there is philosophy, there is so many things. It's also about how the universe was created. Think about this darkness, ne? About the theory of light and darkness, which comes first. The truth is, light, you only know you only know darkness, you only know that there is light in the presence of darkness. Anyway, I don't want to get into that debate, but just understand that this world was once dark, and then suddenly one thing emerged, and you're gonna see it's quite interesting. You can even see that we also have isinye, which is a bladder. Okay, isinye is a bladder in isiZulu. Ubunye is oneness. It belongs to another noun class set. Okay, and you have izinye, which are bladders. Okay, so I am saying to you, from those syllable sets, you can create a lot of words. So we can see that nye has a relationship with nya. Okay? And remember, when we are converting isiZulu syllable or isiZulu verb, you must remember that isiZulu verb end with vowel a. And there is a reason for that. It's because when we convert it to a noun, the last vowel can change it to a, e, or u. Can change to any one of those 5 vowels. Okay, so before I proceed, let me remind you that I am not a linguist. I'm a total quality systems developer who is passionate about Bantu languages. That is why I founded Bantu Languages Development Institute. I want my languages to be instruments of communication, of prestige and prosperity. So I devoted my skills and talent in developing our languages and giving them our own interpretation based on empirical evidence. For example, if you look at the names of numbers from 1 to 5 in isiZulu language, it is kunye, kubili, kuthathu, kune, kuhlanu. Okay, don't worry, we'll deal with them in the next slide. But I just want you to note that they have prefix ku. K is number 11 and U is number 21 in the sequence of 26 letters. The common denominator there is that both these numbers are 1 above a completed 10. Can you see? Because 10 plus 1 equal 11, 20 plus 1 equal 21. But if you go to the next set of 5 numbers, which is isithupha, which is for 6, 7 isikhombisa, 8 isishiyagalombili, 9 isishiyagalolunye, 10 ishumi, they all feature the first 2 letters, IS, of those numbers corresponds with 9 here, and S corresponds with 19 in the sequence of 26 letters. And as you can see, the common denominator of these two is that both are one shot before a completed 10th or from a completed 10th, because 10 minus 1 equal 9, or 20 minus 1 equal 19. This is very interesting. Sometimes you have all these coincidences in life, and others will call it synchronicity. Sometimes the universe has a way of doing its own things. It's very interesting that the most advanced, the oldest and most advanced ancient mathematical tool in the world, the Ishango bone, which was found at the border of DRC and Uganda in a village called Ishango. That whole area is inhabited by Bantus, okay? And this bone is over 22,000 years old. So the interesting thing is that if you look at this bone, it has 3 columns. It has row A, B, and C. If you look at row A, it actually aligns perfectly with isiZulu first 2 letters of the first 10 of the names of the first 10 names of the names of the first 10 numbers, okay, natural numbers. Okay, so this is very interesting because we have 11, 21, 19, and 19. If we add those up, guess what? They give us 60. And what is interesting here, which is why a lot of scholars have argued that this was not a decorative bone. No, it wasn't. It was a purposeful bone. And I am even going further to argue that it was a teaching aid of the time. Remember, when I say that, I am mindful of the fact that, yes, the colonialists found us without we couldn't read and write the way they wrote, they read and written. Okay, so we understand that. However, you must differentiate between schooling and education. Okay, education did not come with colonialism. They came with institutionalization of education, which is schooling. Okay, there is a difference. Our parents always educated us. They were always, in isiZulu, young girls, there will be the groups of young girls, kube nejongosi, the leader, they will be taught how to behave themselves, even the skills of life, doing craft and so forth. There was a lot of education. Education was there. Of course, probably not as advanced as the education that the colonialists brought, but in the final analysis, we did have our own education system, even though it was not institutionalized. It was a family activity, it was informal, it was something that was just passed on from one generation to the other. Now, we can see that our people already knew the concept of sets more than 20,000 years ago, because in this bone you can see that those numbers there are all odd numbers and they add up to 60. Now the next row is very interesting. The next row is not only just odd numbers, it is 4 sets of successive numbers, prime numbers, above 10 but below 20, that all add up to 60. So we now know that it can't be a coincidence. Yeah, if it happens the first time, maybe it's a coincidence. But if we see a pattern, then we have to start looking again. It can't be a coincidence. It is a pattern. Okay, so it's a beautiful pattern. It's a deliberate pattern, in other words. So you can see there that it also adds up to 60. And we are going to tell you now what is the significance of 60. If you go to row number C, that's very interesting. Now, row number C is very interesting. It actually has number 7, 5, 5, 10, 8, 4, 6, and 3. If you add all those up, they will give you 48. But that's not all. That's not all. This bone, this row here, omits numbers, certain numbers, 3 numbers below 10. It is 1, 2, and 9. There is no 1, 2, and 9. And if you look closely, you will see that, no, it was deliberate, okay? Because 1 has special qualities. It has mathematical significance. 1 is the only number that is neither a prime or composite. And the reason why it is so, remember that all numbers, the 1 is the factor of all numbers. Okay, simply put, that is why 1 is neither a prime or composite. Okay, but it is an odd number. So then 2 is the only number, like 1, is the only even number that is a prime number. Oh my goodness, because it has 2 factors. Remember, all prime numbers are divisible by 1 and the number itself. Okay, are divisible by 1 and the number itself. So prime numbers always have 2 factors. 2 is the only even number that is prime because it has 2 factors. And that's very interesting. Then number 9 is an odd number, but it is the first odd number that is a composite number. In other words, the first odd number that has more than 2 factors, because the factors of 9 are 1, 3, and 9. Because 9 divided by 9 equal 1. Then 9 divided by 3 equal 3. That's the second factor. And the other factor is 1. Of course, 9 divided by 9 is 1. Okay. So I hope you understood me. I said the 9 divided by 9 equal 1. Okay. And 9 divided by 3 equal 3. And 9 divided by 1 equal 9. Okay, so there are 3 factors of 9. It's 1, 3, and 9. Okay, I hope you understand. If there is a mistake that I made, I don't know, because I think there must be a mistake that I made somewhere. But don't worry about it, because I've corrected it. So that's beautiful. Right, so if you add up 1, 2, and 9, that equals 12. This then tells us that all these rows of the Ishango bone, remember there are 2 sets of bones. This is the most studied twin set. Okay? And if you look at all these numbers, 60, the tallies of 60, 60, and 48, all of them are divisible by 12. So we know that these people, the Bantus, already knew the multiples of 12. And we find these multiples of 12 in their noun class sets. I discovered that isiZulu noun classes are not 17 as proposed by a German linguist called Karl Meinhof, or 9 as later reviewed by C.M. Doak, a British-born linguist. They are 12, and you are going to see why it is important to understand that there are only 12 noun classes. Again, you must also understand that when we divide 48 by 5, we get 4. You will discover now in this very presentation, I think, is it this presentation? No. It's the other presentation that you are going to see. You will see that all isiZulu nouns are assigned one of the 4 vowels, A, E, O, U, as opening feature. Okay? And all isiZulu verb words, deviating verb words, the verbs that are deviating from the standard pattern of isiZulu verb, that are vowel-led, in other words. There are few isiZulu verbs that are not consonant-led, and they are therefore deviating verbs from the standard pattern, which is consonant-led and closing with vowel R. Okay? These ones, they also are assigned They are all opening with one of the four vowels. It is A, E, O. Okay? So we can literally use this bone to unpack the mathematical genius of isiZulu. It is a very important bone. You must also understand that isiZulu is 5 vowels driven. What do we mean by that? You will find that if you don't master isiZulu, if you don't master the vowels, the way how the vowels are manipulated in isiZulu, it's going to be very difficult for you to understand its logic system. Vowels, the 5 vowels, are what numbers are to mathematics. They are the foundation of the language. And when we say that, for example, each syllable of isiZulu traces back to a 5 vowels driven syllable set. In other words, it is 5 vowels driven A, E, O, U, because all the syllable sounds of isiZulu are traced back to their respective 5 vowel driven syllable sets. For example, let's take an example. The noun imoto, imoto. There are 3 syllables in that noun word of isiZulu, which is a car in English. Okay? Opening vowel I comes from the A, E, O, U syllable set. Okay? And a noun, a vowel, can only be a syllable in isiZulu language, a distinct syllable on its own. Okay? Only in the opening position or prefixed position. Otherwise, all isiZulu syllables are consonants and with a vowel at the end. So you have a blend that is also ranging from 1 up to a maximum of 5. So these 5 we see in isiZulu a lot as a base. So, for example, the second syllable of imoto comes from the mo. It comes from mamemimo. Okay. So you must understand this because there are numbers behind these 5 syllable sets of isiZulu, 5 vowels driven syllable sets of isiZulu. And the last syllable of imoto, to, comes from the ta, te, ti, to, tu syllable set. Okay. isiZulu has a very beautiful way of doing this, and there is one supreme rule of isiZulu that you must remember, which is why it has been able to maintain its mathematical genius. isiZulu is a highly numerically determined and regulated language. For example, isiZulu, it is strictly forbidden in isiZulu language for a vowel to feature more than once in the same position of the word. So vowels cannot follow one another in the same position, as in spoon in English. Spoon in isiZulu, we Zulufy it, we say isipuni, because we want every syllable to trace back to the 5 vowels driven syllable sets of isiZulu. So this is very exciting, isn't it? I'm hoping that you are enjoying so far. I'm hoping that I am not confusing you. Anyway, let's get to the business of the day. The business of the day is for us to unpack the names of numbers 1 to 10 and do a comparative analysis. As already stated earlier on, number 1, which is 1 in English, in Afrikaans it's Ian, in Dutch it's also Ian. Okay? So in isiZulu it is kunye. Okay, kunye. In Nyanja, imodzi. In Swahili it's moja. Okay? Kubili in isiZulu is a word for 2. Okay? And it's twee in Afrikaans, it's twee again in Dutch. Now, whilst I am there, let me remind you, it is not true that Afrikaans is the newest language. It is also not true that Afrikaans is an indigenous language. Afrikaans is a South African dialect of Dutch. It is as old as Dutch. And I am not, this is not me saying, this is evidence. You can see one in Afrikaans is Ian, and in Dutch it's also Ian. Two in Afrikaans is Twie, and also in Dutch it's Twie. And the three is drie in Afrikaans, and it's also drie in Dutch. Okay, yet in isiZulu it is kuthathu, in Nyanja it is zinai, and in Swahili it is ne. It is tatu. It is tatu. Okay, you can see that these languages are related. Okay, the Bantu languages, Zulu, Nyanja. Nyanja is spoken in Malawi. It's also spoken in some sections of Zambia. And I think it's also spoken in DRC. And probably in other pockets it has pockets somewhere else in Africa. I think it's also there in Mozambique, if I'm not mistaken. I think there's a small group of Nyanja speaking people in Mozambique as well. But anyway, I'm just showing you the comparative analysis. This is the etymology that I was talking about. It is telling us more about the origins of the language, the relatedness of the languages. And it's very important not to just say, Afrikaans is an indigenous, simply because somebody decided to name a Dutch language Afrikaans. Now we say, no, it's an African language. No, yes, we accept it's an official South African language like English. English is not a language, is not a South African language. It is a language of colonial foundations, the same way as Dutch. Okay, it is Jan van Riebeeck's language. Afrikaans is Jan van Riebeeck's language. And Afrikaners, most of them are descendants of the Dutch. Even Hendrik Verwoerd was a Dutch man. Okay, the one who introduced the inferior Bantu education for Bantus, for us. Okay, so let's dispel that myth. We are not fighting, we're simply presenting facts. Okay, then let's look at it. Four in English, vier in Afrikaans, vier in also Dutch. And in isiZulu, number 4 is kune. Okay, and in Nyanja is zinai. In Swahili, it is ne. You can see isiZulu and Swahili, ne, kune. We are using the same thing. You can see also with 2, we have that mbili there and we have mbili there. You're going to see that mbili is also used as 2 in isiZulu, but under specific context, as I will unpack as we move along. Okay. Then number 5 is faith in Afrikaans, and it is faith in Dutch. Okay, and in isiZulu is kuhlanu. Kuhlanu. This thing that I was talking about earlier on, you can see that all the names of numbers from 1 to 5, they open with prefix ku, which is K equal 11 and U equal 21. Okay, in the sequence of 21 letters. Okay, and in Nyanja 5 is zisano. Okay, and in Swahili is tano. You can hear that it's more or less the same thing. Okay, and as you can see there, Afrikaans is faith, and in Dutch it is also faith. 6 is zes in Afrikaans, is zes in Dutch. You can see zes consistently, English and Afrikaans and Dutch are the same. I just don't understand why there has to be an argument about this, because we accept that there is Nigerian English, there is Australian English, there is American English, and then there is British English. Afrikaans is South African Dutch language. Don't be mistaken. And you can see there with us, isiZulu, word for 6 is isithupha. I'm going to be unpacking these names of numbers in the next slides. It is isithupha. And in Nyanja, oh my God, I love Nyanja. You know, Nyanja, their word for 6 is zisanu. They are introducing arithmetic logic in their name of number 6. None of these languages, these 6 languages that I'm comparing here, are doing that. Nyanja, a Bantu language, is doing that. It is called 6 is Zisanu Ndi Chimotsi. Now, what does that mean? It means 5 plus 1. Huh? Yes. And in Swahili, it is sita. I'm literally translating it, the meaning of 6 in Nyanja. Okay. isiZulu word for 7 is isikhombisa. Okay. And I'm going to unpack that as well. But again, Nyanja is saying zisanu ndi ziwiri. Look at the names of those numbers earlier on. Awiri, we already know that it's 2. Okay? We already know that 5 is zisanu. So, zisanu ndi ziwiri. Zisanu plus 2. 5 plus 2. Ndi is plus 2. So we can see that they are already introducing an arithmetic there. Start adding up. You are able to count up to 5. Now you must be able to start adding up, which is beautiful. Then in Swahili, it is Saba. In Afrikaans, it is Sieve. And in Dutch, it is 7. Okay? And 8 is isishiyagalombili in isiZulu. We will unpack this one of isiZulu. It's a highly compounded word. It's very, very algebraic. I am telling you, you're gonna enjoy when I unpack this one. Okay. In Nyanja is zisanu ndi atatu. Okay, which is 5 plus 3. That is their word for 8. Then in Swahili is nane. It's very interesting that Swahili calls their name for 8 na, which is a conjunction or a plus. Okay, ne. In other words, you add up or maybe you double the 4. And that's how I interpreted it. If my interpretation is wrong, please correct me. But I am taking this from the fact that ne is 4. So 4 plus 4 equal 8. Okay? So when you say nane, to me, it sounds like you are saying you multiply the 4 by 2, or you add another 4 to make 8. Okay, so you correct me. We are all developing these languages, and that is why I want you to subscribe. I want you to press that like button. I want you to help this channel to grow, because we now want to solve our problems as Bantus. We've been complaining a lot. I'm so sick of complaining. Now let's get to solving our problems. If we solve our problems, then we will enjoy the fact that we are now living in human dignity-driven society. Without knowledge, without, the ability to solve your own problems, you remain a slave of your former colonizers and oppressors. So it's important for us to start empowering ourselves. Okay, so help me grow this. I'm using isiZulu as a case study. Now, what is 8 in Afrikaans? It is 8. And what is it in Dutch? It is also 8. Right? And the English word for 9 is 9, obviously. In Afrikaans is 9. And in Dutch is 9. Come on, guys. How can we say these languages are different? That's not true. Afrikaans is as old as Dutch. Afrikaans is Dutch, is the South African Dutch dialect. Then you see with isiZulu, another one in isiZulu. Number 9 in isiZulu, the name for number 9 is isishiyagalolunye. It's an algebraic equation that I will unpack later on. But let's move on because I'm going to go into that. Then in Nyanja, again, number 9 is an arithmetic equation. It is Zisanu Ndi Sinai, which literally translates to 5 plus 4. Finally, number 10, okay, is tin in Afrikaans. It's also tin in Dutch, okay? And in isiZulu, it is ishumi, okay? Ishumi. And you must also understand the mathematical significance of ishumi, the singular form ishumi. It literally translates to 10 times 1. Because 10 times any number above 1 is amashumi. As in 20 in isiZulu is amashumi amabili. In other words, it's 10 times 2. 30 is amashumi amatatu, which is 10 times 3. Okay, so that's the logic we must get in these languages. Now, we can see that Nyanja as well, their word for ishumi is kumi. You see, it's very related. And Swahili, it's also kumi. Okay. And, so guys, you can see for yourself that Afrikaans and Dutch is one language. And you can also see that as Bantu languages, we are so related as much as these 3 other language, English, Afrikaans, Dutch, you can see that they do have a relationship because their names of numbers are similar, same as us as Bantus. Our names of numbers are also similar. So let's move on to the next slide. I would like to remind you that in isiZulu, quantity sensitiveness is very important. You must observe the quantity sensitiveness. Singular nouns and plural nouns or their plural equivalents never share the same set. Okay? Why? I mean, for example, even a word like beautiful is noun class set specific. It's 12 noun class specific. For example, I would say umntwana muhle. Muhle. A child is beautiful. But when there are many, I would say abantwana bahle. The children are beautiful. So then the singular form noun is muhle, and the plural form is bahle. Even the first and second possessive pronouns, such as my, are noun class set specific. In other words, for you to be able to speak isiZulu properly, you must understand the 12 noun class system that is quantity sensitive. For example, all the nouns from set 1 that begin with umu are all human. And those that also open with vowel u are all human. So all human nouns, including proper human nouns, are assigned opening vowel u. When those nouns become plural, they relocate to set 9 and they adopt prefix aba, as in abantu. Umuntu, person. Abantu, people. Okay? Usisi, sister. Osisi, sisters. Okay. The previous scholars, they didn't understand the mathematical sophistication of these languages. As a result, they tended to separate these noun classes. Actually, they belong to the same. And these prefixes are very important in understanding how the verb words are converted to different 12 noun class set specific nouns. Okay. So that is why we have that. And the second one, this is another initiating noun class set. You will see that the second one also features prefix umu and the prefix u, okay? As in umuzi. So this one is non-human and it is in singular form. It's the same as the first noun class set. It's just that the first noun class set is singular form human nouns and it uses a different personal pronoun, which is yena. Whereas the second one, it is wona, which is non-human. It's all singular form human nouns. When these ones are in plural form, those with prefix pattern umu, they relocate to set 12 and adopt prefix imi, as in imizi, houses. Okay? Imizi. Those that open with vowel u, they adopt vowel o when they are in plural and they relocate to the same noun class set that set 1 relocated to when it became plural, as in ubhejane, rhino, obhejane, rhinos. The same way as we say osisi, sisters. Okay, one sister, usisi. Remember, Bantu languages always pluralize in the mouth or prefix position of the word and never at the end. Okay, so we are talking about noun words. It's very important to understand that because it's different from Afrikaans, English, and Dutch, because they tend to do so either in the middle or at the end, at the tail end. So it's important to know that. And that is because we attach so much significance to quantities. Okay? So those nouns, they move to set 9. Upechane, opechane, it goes to set 9. Set 3, they feature all those prefix patterns and they are in singular form, like ibele, breast, ici, earring, idada, dark, ifu, cloud, and so forth. Okay? And when they become plural, they adopt prefix pattern ama, as in amabele, breasts, or ici, amacici, earrings. Okay? Uidada, amadada, ducks. Okay? So amadada, ducks. Yeah, so they adopt prefix pattern ama. Okay, and they relocate to set A when they become plural. Then set 4, set 6, and set 7. They relocate to set 11. So that is why we call set 11 the super plural noun cluster set, because all these nouns from set 4 that follow that pattern there, which are in singular form, when they are in plural form, they adopt easy, as in ufudu, tortoise, one tortoise. Then when it's in plural, it becomes easy, mfudu. Okay? That fu syllable changes to mf. That will be explained because there is a beautiful way of explaining it using numbers. So we will explain that later on. Similarly, udonga is indonga. Okay? Again, we can see that there is udonga is indonga. NDO. The DO changes to NDO. And if you recall, I said the sequences are very important in isiZulu language. Again, you will see that M and N are medians in the sequence of 26 letters. Okay, they are right in the middle. They are bracketed by 12 this side and 12 that side. If you count it from that side, from this side, from 1 to 13, okay, you will get to M. If you start from Z and say 1, and then when you get to N, you will be in number 13. And 13 plus 13 is 26. So it's very important. We will teach you about this because it's very significant in isiZulu. Sequences are extremely important. Similarly, nouns that are in 36 that have prefix isi, when in singular form, as in isinkwa, bread, isitolo, shop, isibaya, crawl, all those nouns, they belong to set 6, which is a home for singular noun class, for singular nouns with prefix isi. When in plural, it also adopts prefix pattern isi, as in izinkwa, izibaya, and so forth and so forth. Okay, so it's very easy. Once you get to know that, and these 12 guys that I was talking about is very important. I'm going to be showing you in another slide. Then 37, and these are nouns. Again, this is what we call the median closing, the median singular noun cluster set that is closing those singular nouns, okay? It's at the end, okay, of the singular noun classes. So this one again, remember I spoke about I is the median in the sequence of 5 vowels. M and N are the medians in the sequence of 26 letters. And the N is also the median in the sequence of 21 consonants. Again, we see here that all isiZulu nouns with prefix IM or IN that are in singular form, they belong to this noun cluster set. They belong to the same noun cluster set. And we are going to share with you how we determine that. It's all about application. If you master the 12 noun classes of isiZulu, you will speak it like a pro. You will ace it even at school. You will actually understand the language and appreciate it even more because it makes it easy to apply. We also code these because we live in the age of algorithms. We live in the age of coded language. So it's important that we decode our language and we align it with the coding language, the modern coded language, okay, of algorithms, okay. So that is why there, if it's in singular, you will say imbuzi, goat, okay? Imbuzi, goat. When it's a cow, it is inkomo, cow, okay? When in plural, it becomes izimbuzi, goats, izinkomo, cows, okay? Inkuku, chicken, izinkuku, chickens, inkawu, monkey, izinkawu, monkeys. You can see there is a concentration of animals there. You will find indlovu in this noun cluster set. Indlovu is an elephant, is indlovu, elephants. You will find a lot of them in this noun cluster set. I hope you understand. I'm telling you because this is going to become extremely important in the next slide. Let us unpack the word for one in isiZulu, kunye, okay? It simply means it is one, okay? It is one. Kunje, it is like this. Ku is like always, it can mean it is in most cases, okay? So it is, kunye, it is one. Okay, syllable nya is from the nyanye nyinyo new 5 vowels driven isiZulu syllable set. Dope, Malcolm's, Kakana, and Vilakazi. In this dictionary, guys, I use it a lot to find the definitions of words so that I enhance it. It's very, very useful. It's well researched, this one. Okay, so I also have my own dictionary. The beauty about my own dictionary is that it has proper coded noun classes and it is also extremely quantity sensitive, obviously because I developed the system. So that is why it is very coded, because with me a system must be practical. You know, and that's where I come from as a systems developer. You know, if you are a systems developer, you want something that is practical. You don't want something that is just going to be good to study, but it doesn't make any sense. It has no purpose. It must be fit for purpose. Okay? It must meet your expectations. And your expectations is to be able to communicate fluently in isiZulu. I've come across a lot of friends who are white, who are Indians, who are colored, and so forth, who've been trying to learn isiZulu language. And because we are not teaching isiZulu systematically, these people end up studying this language, but they are never able to communicate in it. So I want you to communicate in isiZulu with understanding. Basically, guys, Malcolm, Doak, Skakana, and Vilakazi define nya as the idiophone in reference to nothingness, disappearance, ending, silence, as in ufile nya. It's completely dead. It's no more. Is no more. Therefore, nya also means zero. Yes. Nya means zero. In other words, there is no more life in this thing. This thing is gone. Okay? Nya. Kuphelile nya ukudla. There's nothing left in the plate, right? It's finished. My food is finished in the plate. There's nothing left. Okay? So, there is something very beautiful about this. And that's why we are encouraging this 5 vowels driven approach. In other words, from nya emerges kunye. Okay? Kunye, which is 1. Okay? Kunye. Okay? Kunye. It is 1, which is the second syllable in the set in the set of nyanyenyinyonyu. Okay? And guys, it's very important to understand that isiZulu converts syllables, especially the first syllable, into different noun class sets. Okay? For example, I'm just going to make an example here. You can see that in set 4, okay, let's take set 3, for example. Set 3, inya. Inya is emptiness. It is emptiness. It is desire to exert oneself to make up for lost time, for time lost. Okay? So that is inya. Okay? It's emptiness, basically. It's also that desire to want it to correct what to correct it that wrong. It's the rectification, inya. Okay? So then unya is cruelty. That is the noun class, that is the noun that we create from nya, unya. In other words, it comes from nothingness. The point I'm making here is that isiZulu is very philosophical. Bantu languages, if you analyze them carefully, you will actually find that there is history in them, in their words, there is philosophy, there is so many things. It's also about how the universe was created, you know. Think about this darkness, ne? About the theory of light and darkness, which comes first. The truth is, light, you only know there is, you only know darkness, you only know that there is light in the presence of darkness. Anyway, I don't want to get into that debate, but just understand that this world was once dark, and then suddenly one thing emerged, you know, and you're gonna see it's quite interesting. You can even see that we also have isinye, which is a bladder. Okay, isinye is a bladder in isiZulu. Ubunye is oneness. It belongs to another noun class set. Okay, and you have izinye, which are bladders. Okay, so I am saying to you, from those syllable set, you can create a lot of words. So we can see that nye has a relationship with nya. Okay, and remember, when we are converting isiZulu syllable or isiZulu verb, you must remember that isiZulu verb end with vowel a. And there is a reason for that. It's because when we convert it to a noun, the last vowel can change it to a, e, or u. Can change to any one of those 5 vowels. Okay, so let's move on to 2. I'm going to be very quick with this one because I wanted to conclude. The unpacking isiZulu name for 2. isiZulu name for 2 kubili means it is 2. Syllable ku is from kakekikoku, as I already mentioned, which means it is. So it therefore means it is 2. All right. Then bili is from the verb bila. Okay, boil. This may be from volcanic eruption which appears to destroy, yet it also revives. Think about it. When you have this volcanic eruption, there is this lava, this orange lava and so forth, and it destroys everything in its path. Guess what happens after that? That area, it becomes very fertile. It's the way the earth revives itself. It becomes very fertile. You start getting a lot of food from there. That is why in isiZulu, that bila from bila, you can literally create 12 nouns from that verb bila. Okay? And isibili is second place, ububili is a pair or is a double, okay, etc., etc. Ulwesibili is Tuesday, okay, it's in set 4. Remember, all noun must belong to one of the 12 noun class sets in isiZulu. Okay, there is a systematic approach to which isiZulu creates its nouns. I'm just putting this there because I put a lot of detail because I want you to go and actually study this, but you are going to learn more about the isiZulu noun classes. Now, if we go to isiZulu word for 3, it comes from tata, verb tata. Take, begin, receive. This may be about recreation. In isiZulu, when a man marries a woman, it is called ukutata. It is in taking a wife. You are recreating. You take a wife because you wanted to recreate. You wanted to expand the family. Okay, you want to recreate. It's procreation. Okay, so isiZulu word for tata is take, but it's also used in the context of recreation. So from there, you can see we have so many verbs that are, so many noun, class set specific nouns that we create from the verb tata. Okay, and I'm simply showing you this because I just want you to read it in your spare time, and you can pause, go through it, read, and so forth. Number 4, okay, une, syllable ku, okay, again, it starts with syllable ku. I've already explained it. Ne is an idiophone from na, ne, ni, no, nu. And usually all these syllables, you will find that they are related because when na is being changed, which na is end, it's conjunction end or plus, okay, na in isiZulu, you see, is in amanzi nabantu, water and people. Amanzi nabantu, okay, yeah. However, it can change to ne depending on what vowel is opening the subsequent noun. Okay, you're going to learn that, but don't worry at this stage. We just want you to understand that ne is an idiophone which about something that is tight, that is sticking tightly. Okay, namathele ne, something that is tight, as in 2 plus 2 equal 4. These 4 fingers, when I'm putting them like this, they are hlangene, they are united, like they are sticking tight together. Okay, excuse me. Okay, so this is about interdependence. Okay, it's about interdependence. In other words, we've got to be working together. These are going to become a lot clearer as we debate this. There is a paper of mine, isiZulu Mathematical Genius, which links isiZulu with ancient Egyptian hieroglyphic writing and counting. If you subscribe, you can also join Bala-Di, and we can send you that copy of isiZulu noun class, of isiZulu Mathematical Genius, so that you can understand the names of these numbers in detail. I'm simply making a presentation now, and I'm trying to be as brief as possible. And the number 5 is coming from the word hlana, which is an idiophone defined by Doak, Malcolm, Vilakazi, and Skakana as of determined gait, of turning the palm of your hand. You know, when you do this is hlana. You know, so hlana ngesempama or whatever. I'm going to slap you with this part of the hand. Okay, and so this is about transformation, because you don't use this, you use that. Okay, and it's like the word hlanakezela. If I am going to take off this shirt that I'm wearing and I'm going to wear it in reverse, you know, it's going to say, you are going to say, hey, uyihlanakezele lelo sheti lakho, yabona? So in other words, you have not, you've put it on the wrong side. Okay, so that is what hlana is all about. And from there, you must remember all the isiZulu names of days, especially from Tuesday, uLwesibili, uLwesithathu, uLwesine, uLwesihlanu, are linked to the numbers. Okay, they are linked to the numbers and they belong to set 4, but you don't have to worry about it, because we will discuss the sets later on. And let's just unpack 6 and 7. What we discovered was that after the count of 5, isiZulu names of numbers introduce symbolic logic in preparation for numbers 8 and 9, the names of 8 and 9, because there must be no ambiguity. Okay, because remember, the numbers for 8 and 9 are algebraic equations. You will see later on, because we will unpack them. isiZulu name for 6 is isithupha. Okay, isithupha, which is the homonym or the same word for the dumb. Okay, and isiZulu word for 7 is isikhombisa, also a homonym for index finger that we use to point. And isikhombisa is created from the verb khombisa, show, point. Okay, so, and that is why we are showing you there that isiZulu word for 6 is introducing symbolic logic, and we now gonna understand why. Okay, now if we unpack isiZulu names for 8 and 9, isiZulu names for 8 and 9 are algebraic equations. isiZulu word for 8 is isishiyagalombili, and for 9 is isishiyagalolunye. these two extremely compounded words, they feature multiple speech elements that are meaningful, that are very critical in unearthing the algebraic logic behind their names of numbers, as well as the historicity of the names of numbers of isiZulu language. Okay, now you will notice that both these numbers, they feature prefix isi, which can simply be translated as meaning isi. Okay, isi, it means it is, but it is also used to convert a noun, a verb into a noun class set specific that belongs to that set with prefix isi. Like for example, if you say isishiya, that is a subtraction. In other words, that is the name of the subtraction mathematical operation. Whereas the shia means minus, subtract. Okay, so that is why we are writing there, shia means minus. Then galo is taken from noun, isiZulu noun words, ugalo, limb, ogalo, limbs, ingalo, izingalo, arms, isigalo, bracelet, izigalo, bracelets. Okay, and these are the use of the word galo, which is not specific as it was with 6 and 7. Remember, they also used limbs, but they were very specific about which limb they are talking about. These ones are not specific. And why? It's because all subsequent numbers of isiZulu that feature 8 or 9 are algebraic equations. Okay? Now, galo is used to represent the missing quantities in the equation. Okay? They are used to represent the missing quantities in the equation. That is why they would not be specific about which galo they are talking about. Because you might say, for 8, for example, you might say leg minus 2 equal arm. Okay? Where leg represents 10 and 8 is represented by, and the arm represent 8, because 10 minus 2 equal 8. Okay? So, because we are no longer in ancient Egypt, we are now here in South Africa, and we are now using, we are no longer using limbs. Remember that Zulus and Bantus, they originate from Nubia, okay? The modern day Sudan, which is in proximity to ancient Egypt. At some stage, the Nubians were governed ancient Egypt, okay? So, we now have the evidence that is linking us with ancient Egyptians. It's right there in the names of our numbers. If you read the ancient Egyptian hieroglyphic writing and counting over 4,000 years ago, you will see limbs. They are used, limbs are used as letters and numbers. I think the leg will be a B and the arm will be a D, and you will have maybe a mouth will be R or something like that. You will also have an eye. Any limb will be used for different things, and other everyday pictorials, plants, animals, and so forth. And we have the same evidence in isiZulu language. Okay, we have the same evidence of that in isiZulu language, and I am sure we have that evidence even in other Bantu languages. And you are going to help me grow this Bala-Di TV channel, YouTube channel, by commenting, by sending your comments, by making sure that you subscribe, by making sure that you also advise us about your language so that we can go and look at it and also compare it here with isiZulu and other languages. That would be quite exciting. It will be my honor to having to go and do research. I love doing research. I love going through things, reading. I love that. So don't think that you are giving me a lot of work. No, I love doing it. It's what I do. Anyway, in my age, I'm now doing a legacy thing. Let's not get into that. Let's not get into that. Let's not get into my age. You guys, let me not talk about those things. I've digressed. Okay, so guys, in short, isiZulu word for 8 is an algebraic equation x minus 2 equal y, where x equal 10 and y equal 8, because 10 minus 2 equal 8. Algebra will be so simple. Each time when I tell people that you speak algebra, they say, what do you mean, Dr. Khoza? And I tell them that, listen, guys, you've got to start learning with understanding. We have a big problem of people just speaking the language without understanding the intellectual depth of that word. From now on, let's start speaking consciously. Let's start analyzing the words that we use on a daily basis, because you will actually find that you will be discouraging your child from learning isiZulu and saying, learn English, and guess what? The child is going to learn English, speak English through her nose. Fine, she will be able to connect with the world, but she cannot connect with his own roots. He cannot connect with his own logic and intelligence. Your child can be throwing away mathematics, as we are showing here. isiZulu word for 8 and that of Nyanja, they carry algebraic equations, and for Nyanja, arithmetic equations. Why would you throw a language like that? That is so systematic, that is so beautiful. Okay? So I think this is a tool to help us to start learning a language differently. I want us to be conscious speakers, to know that when I say this is what I mean, okay? This is what I mean. You can even define the word, okay? All right. Similarly, then isiZulu word for 9 translates to an algebraic equation x minus 1 equal y. Remember mbili. You remember that mbili of Swahili? Yeah. Here we use it. Okay. We say isishiyagalombili. Mbili is 2. Okay. For 8, that's why we say x minus y, x minus 2 equal y. Or, so that's the word for isiZulu word for 8. And similarly, lunye, it's lunye is 1. Okay, so that is why isiZulu word for 9 is x minus 1 equal y, where x equal 10 and y equal 9. Guys, this is very, very important. I cannot overemphasize the critical importance of speaking with understanding. Okay? Because we can see that isiZulu, we can use it to demystify mathematics. We can use it to demystify algebra. We can use it to introduce algebra to children so that they start understanding algebra from a very young age. Children can count up to 10. By the time they get to 7 years, 8 years old, they long can count up to 10, 20, 100 or whatever. Imagine if you start teaching them what the word actually means. In short, I want to say to you, there is no precise word for 8 and 9 in isiZulu. isiZulu words for 8 and 9 are algebraic equations. Okay? There's nothing that features 8. The only quantity that features in their names, for 8, it's only 2. For 9, it's only 1. Nye. Okay, so let's move on. Finally, this is the final slide, guys. And I wanted to conclude by saying to you, isiZulu names 4 numbers. They possess, they show us, they give us a glimpse to the philosophical quest of the Bantu language-speaking citizens of Africa. Okay? These indigenous people of Africa called Bantus, it has that philosophic quest. And the beauty about isiZulu is that it's a language that is made up of a lot of other sub languages. Okay, so that is why isiZulu is relatable to all other languages in Africa. In fact, I can take isiZulu, I can isiZulu is similar to Swahili, is similar to Shona, is similar to so many languages, a lot of languages. So it's a very nice language. And I want us to start learning all our Bantu languages, because it's very easy to communicate in any Bantu language once you have the base, you understand your language first. You understand the logic system of your language, because you can connect the dots. So there is also historicity in these names of numbers and of isiZulu. There's also mathematical reasoning, and I've already demonstrated that. As we go along, we'll also be showing you the logic of systems thinking, connecting the dots and being able to understand a language as a system. But as we move along, we will be showing you all that. We've also demonstrated that isiZulu names, the prefix, the first 2 letters of isiZulu names of numbers 1 to 10, they hold the mathematical significance. You remember that we said Ku is it correspond with the numbers that correspond with K corresponds with 11, which is 1 above 10. 1 above a completed 10, and 21, and U corresponds with 21, which is 1 above a completed second 10th. Okay, which is amashumi amabili. Okay, which is U. Okay. So, and the other thing that is also important is to understand that there is a lot of linkages here. There is a link of isiZulu with Ishango bone, and we can see that isiZulu also links with ancient Egypt, and we find that by studying the etymology of isiZulu language names of numbers. And finally, we said isiZulu is 5 vowels driven and 12 noun class set specific. And remember, if you times 5 times 12, it equals 60. And remember, in the Ishango bone, we also said there is 48 there. And we also highlighted to you that all isiZulu nouns open with 4 vowels, A, E, O, U. And all isiZulu deviating verbs open with vowels A, E, O. You are going to learn that at some stage. I just want to thank you very much for listening to me. I hope that you press that subscribe button. Make sure that you circulate to as many people as possible. Anyone who is studying Bantu languages, any linguist, anyone, a teacher, a student is most welcome to our channel. Please don't miss any session. I thank you and goodbye. Nisale kahle.